On the eastern outskirts of the Southwest National Park lies the Mystery Creek Caves. First discovered in the 1880s, the Mystery Creek Caves were originally constructed as a tramway to facilitate a limestone quarry. The trail is mostly flat and easily managed by walkers of all levels. It provides a unique walking experience that combines railroads and mining shafts of days past that help to enhance the experience. However, it is not recommended that walkers travel deeper than the initial cave entrance without previous experience, proper equipment, and suitable knowledge. And one humid July afternoon, a group of 8 14-year-old students and their chaperones learned that very lesson. July 2nd, 1990. 8 students and 3 teachers from Taroona High School embarked on a 1-week adventure camp based at the Education Department's Esperance Camp. The students and teachers were required to complete a course of lectures, gear demonstrations, and inspections to ensure their safety and preparation for the escapades ahead of them. All members of the group were equipped with ski masks, wetsuits, overalls, helmets, hand torches, and a few headlamps. The leader of the group, Mark Healy, only had a standard miner's lamp. At around 1 p.m., the group headed out to explore Mystery Creek, which was about a 30-minute walk from the parking lot. The weather was less than adequate, with heavy downpours remaining stagnant throughout the day. On their walk, the group bumped into a man returning from the cave entrance. He notified Healy and the rest of the group that the water was too deep and that he was going to come back another day to enter the cave. The group met this information with boos and disappointed groans, leaving Healy with a perplexing decision. After discussing further with his fellow chaperones, they decided to continue to the cave entrance and assess the conditions themselves. As the group continued onwards, however, the group slowly became more optimistic about their chances. The rain clouds were beginning to let up, shifting from a downpour to a light drizzle. With spirits high and excited chatter throughout, Healy let out a sigh of relief, grateful he wouldn't have to let down the kids. The group arrived at the cave entrance and decided to explore. Healy led the charge, guiding the group into the various upper and lower sections of the cave. But with this came some questionable methods of safety. On numerous occasions, Healy had the children link arms in a human chain when crossing streams. This was not entirely necessary and was downright irresponsible. But the children loved it, seeing the entire excursion as nothing more than just a fun game. At this stage, Healy was becoming increasingly aware that the water level was rising and indicated this to the groups. He checked the level and flow conditions and decided that it was still secure enough to thrust ahead. The group proceeded up the left-hand side of the stream, about 170 meters from the cave entrance. They trekked to a point at which it was necessary to cross the stream due to the flow and depth of the water. So, Healy called upon the children to form a human chain once more. 7 of the members jumped at this request, jumping into the flowing stream, linking arms. This ran the width of the stream. Healy was in the center and at the deepest point of the group. The water was at about his knee level, which began to worry him, but he kept his composure for the children. The remaining 4 members of the group decided to cross the stream by holding onto the waists and clothing of the chain members and shuffling across. One of the kids stumbled on the round riverbed rocks, but was quickly steadied and continued over. One girl, unfortunately, was not so lucky. While crossing, she stumbled a step or so from completing the crossing and quickly plunged into the stream, which rapidly thrust her up against a rock wall 2 or 3 meters downstream. The group broke out in a panic, worrying about their group mate, but Healy assured them that all was well. The 2 other teachers went to the child's aid, while Healy hurried the remaining children to safety. Shortly after guiding the final child to safety, he turned to face the 3 in distress and saw them rapidly floating downstream and out of sight. Horror filled Healy's soul, and the children began to call out to their group mates in a swarming hysteria. Healy yelled to the children to remain calm and to not panic. He then began sprinting down the dry land after the trio, stumbling and losing a boot. He tried to save them but wasn't able to reach them before they disappeared in a flooded conduit downstream. His heart dropped seeing his friends vanish before his very eyes, but knew he had a responsibility to those still with him. He attempted to return to his group, but the swiftly deteriorating water conditions prohibited him from reaching them. He climbed onto a rock that was well above the water's flow. From there, he ordered the children to split into 3 separate groups and to try and make their way back to the cave entrance. But the conditions had nosedived for the worst, preventing them from doing so. Their focus then shifted to staying away from any possibilities of danger, and most importantly, staying alive. Communication was difficult due to the stream's excruciatingly loud noise, but they were headstrong. The Esperance camp's growing panic boiled over when at 6 p.m., when the group was set to return, there were no signs of them. They raised the alarm to alert the local police's search and rescue SAR crew. Once they made contact, they called the Tasmanian Caverneering Club with a request for 2 experienced divers familiar with the area that could be there within the next 30 minutes. The rain worsened as the night raged on. 3 members of the search and rescue crew arrived at the scene at around 10 p.m. A local state emergency service SES volunteer had just returned from the cave entrance and notified the 3 crew members that the stream's conditions had improved, but there were still no signs of survivors. The crew entered the cave with ropes, tapes, slings, and various hardwares as they attempted to find the missing group members. The Mystery Creek cave entrance was manageable to enter, but extremely difficult. Within an hour, one of the groups had been reached after several ropes had been fixed across the stream at various points. This point was about 150 meters in from the cave entrance. Without the fixed ropes, the stream could not have been safely navigated by the cavers/police. Over the next 4 hours, the 3 main groups were located and carefully returned to safety. The group members both indicated to the SAR members that Healy was further downstream. The crew members continued their search and found Healy sitting quietly on a rock, surrounded by candles he lit to keep warm. He somberly told the crew members where the missing 3 had drifted to and was promptly brought to safety. The SAR members tried to locate the missing trio, but these attempts were futile, and they packed it up for the night. The search for the missing 3 began again at about 11 a.m. the following morning, but hope of finding them alive had greatly dropped. Healy and his group members reunited, but the children noted that his demeanor had changed. His once bright and adventurous attitude had shifted to that of a broken man. He wore his guilt on his sleeve, blaming himself for the dire situation they were now in. At around 1 p.m., all 3 bodies had been located, and by around 2:30 p.m., they had been removed from the cave and flown to the road by helicopter. The findings of the coroner's inquest stated that the cause of death was an accidental drowning. The courage of all 11 members of the group was outstanding and must be acknowledged. The survivors did a fantastic job in keeping their composure during one of the most harrowing and dangerous events in their lives. 2 months later, Mark Healy died in Melbourne. It's speculated that he took his life due to the overwhelming guilt he thrust upon himself. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please subscribe and leave a like so we can continue to bring you these stories each week. If you have a video suggestion, please leave a comment below. Until next time.